This is Orlando Sentinel Now.
Hello and welcome. It's Friday, October 22nd, and this is Orlando Sentinel Now. Today, we're talking about why experts are saying you should have started Christmas shopping yesterday, plus recent developments in the Miya Marcano case. I'm your host, Joe Mario Pedersen, and joining me today, I have business reporter Austin Fuller and criminal justice reporter Grace Toohey. Thank you both so much for being here. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Austin, coming to you first here for one of your latest. Orlando holiday shoppers should start searching the shelves now for Christmas gifts and whatnot. Getting into this, Austin, why are experts saying that you should start earlier than usual?
Like a lot of things this year, there's supply chain issues. Coronavirus in Asia has kind of slowed down the loading of ships that would head here. Then here, we've had equipment, labor shortages, and truck and train capacity issues that have backed up the ports. So people are advising that if you want a specific item, you got to have that perfect item. You should be out shopping now. You should order it now if you're going to do it online.
You've talked to some business owners in the area. What did they say about how they're feeling about the upcoming shopping season?
Colonial Photo and Hobby in Orlando. Its holiday shopping season normally starts in October. It's not like people are rushing out early for them to be in their stores now, but they only have about half of the train sets they need for the holiday season, and this is when they should have all those train sets in their store. And they point towards the shipping issues that we just talked about. They also say they went through a lot of inventory back in the springtime when people had money from their stimulus checks.
Now, Austin, one expert that you talked to actually recommended for shoppers to place their shopping experience within brick and mortar stores over shopping online. Why is that?
Yeah, he said it really comes down. It's pretty simple. He said if the product is on the shelf, you can take it home with you, so you don't have to wait for it to go online, and you have it there in your hands.
Makes sense to me. Now, finally, Austin, I do want to ask you about shoppers and how are they feeling in all of this? Are they expressing any nervousness or has it not hit yet?
Well, the National Retail Federation put out its annual survey, and they're expecting people to spend more than $997 on gifts and other items this season, which they say is on par with last year. I did talk to a young family. They have a almost seven month old. They were out at Colonial Photo and Hobby, and they really haven't started yet. But the good thing about having a kid who's under a year old is they said he doesn't have a shopping list, or like a Christmas list. So they don't have to worry about getting specific items. They'll be able to find something. And the professor I talked to at UCF said he's not expecting entire groups of products to be sold out. It's more if you're looking for a specific perfect item that you must have. That's where you might run into some trouble.
Well, there you go. For those of you who haven't started shopping yet, maybe now is the time. I will certainly take this warning. Thank you so much, Austin. And for those of you who are interested in finding out more, take a look at Austin's work at orlandosentinel.com. All right, Grace, I want to move over to you now here, talking about the recent developments in the Miya Marcano case, a 19-year-old Mia who disappeared and was killed in September. The primary suspect in that case also found dead. However, Orange County Sheriff's Office is citing that there is additional criminal activity in this case. What criminal activity are they talking about?
It's still very vague about what actually they are investigating, but what we've been told recently during a fight for public records is that they are investigating this additional criminal activity that might have happened after her death. So it doesn't sound like it, had to do with her death necessarily, with the actual killing, but it's something that happened after, and it sounds like it's related in some way. But as you mentioned, the suspect that they said was the prime suspect in this case is dead. So what this means is that, there might be someone else that they're looking at this point. They haven't named any names. They haven't given any really details about what this crime might be, but they're leaving this investigation open for, whatever they're looking for. So it's kind of been a little cryptic, but this is like the most information we've gotten in a few days now in this case.
So this development is really pretty interesting because Orange County Sheriff John Mina had said previously that there was only one suspect that they were looking into this case. But what to me is perhaps even more interesting is how we came into contact with this information. How did the Sentinel find this out?
Yeah, so what happened is we had been waiting for the reports in this case, and because both people involved were dead, we thought this would be an easy case to get information, because usually that means the case is closed. But what we ran into is when we got the first report, there were a lot of redactions, and the sheriff's office was citing an active criminal investigation. So that kind of, put something off in our heads, like what are they still investigating at this point? And so it was when we pushed back on this public record that they told us that there was this still ongoing investigation that had to do with additional criminal activity after her death. And so, yeah, we're still waiting on a lot of public records, and it's unclear how long this investigation will last. We will keep following it and keep trying to figure it out. Something interesting that we were talking to the lawyer who works for the Marcano family. He's representing the family, and he didn't know about this either. So he's kind of been left in the dark as well. The family is unclear, what they're still investigating. They want answers. They would like way more transparency from the sheriff's office, and right now they're not seeing it.
Certainly a lot of question marks in this case. If you're interested in finding out more details, take a look at Grace's work at orlandosentinel.com. Grace, thank you so much. All right, before we all leave you today, we do want to talk about UCF Knights football team is taking on Memphis 7 p.m. tonight in the Bounce House. And UCF is honoring its roots in spacefaring technology and NASA by sporting uniforms today with astronomy designs on them. Our very own Rich Pope has a video detailing those roots in the cosmos. Let's take a look at that now.
This time around, we're heading out to UCF. We're going to take a look at the university's connection to space exploration. Only seems fitting considering the UCF Knights football team gets ready to take to the field this week with their alternate space-themed uniforms. Here are some interesting facts about the university's connection to space exploration and NASA. Reach for the stars. It's a fitting motto for a university that was known as Space University that first welcomed students to class on October 7th, 1968. It was the same year as the Apollo 8 mission sent astronauts to orbit the moon. At that time, though, the school was not known as UCF. It was known as the Florida Technological University.
Florida Technological University, which is now UCF, opened to educate and train students for the growing space industry. In 1963 is when the Florida legislature approved having a university here for the space industry, and the school eventually would open in 1968.
Since that first opening nearly 60 years ago now, the university's alumni have participated in the development of some of the most important space missions that include the Space Shuttle program, Mars rover, the International Space Station, and alumni have helped explore Pluto, Saturn, and Mars. But back in those days, there was this guy. The original mascot, the Citronaut. He has gained quite a resurgence, but his initial introduction, let's just say, never really took off. The space-themed citrus character was designed in 1968 by Norman Van Meter, who was actually the brother-in-law of the then president of the university, Charles N. Millikan. The unofficial mascot didn't last long though, about 1 year actually, after students petitioned to change the school mascot to the Knights of the Pegasus in 1970. Clearly that one stuck, but what didn't stick around was the name Florida Technological University. The name would be officially changed to the University of Central Florida on December 6, 1978. But the space part, it never went away.
They've definitely stayed with their space roots from their early days.
All right, let's fast forward and jet on over to the Bounce House.
That's one small step for man.
In a relatively short time, the field for the team has become the stage for some great memories of the UCF football team. It only seems fitting that the big stage that the team plays on is built around the school's history with the space program, smack dab in the middle at the 50-yard line.
50-yard line at the UCF football stadium lines up to the exact latitude of NASA's historic launch complex 39A.
For space exploration, Launch Pad 39A is sacred ground. It was the starting point for the Apollo missions, including Apollo 11, the mission that landed on the moon. If that wasn't enough, 82 space shuttle missions took off from the pad, including the first and the final mission of NASA's famed ship. And now, SpaceX has been using the pad for a new generation of headline-making missions. Well, there you go. There's some interesting facts you may be able to impress your friends with during the game. But for me, I'm taking off. Until next time, I'm Rich Pope, and this has been a Greetings from UCF.
We have a liftoff.
All right, if you're interested in seeing more of that or any of the stories that we talked about here today, you can, of course, find out more at orlandosentinel.com. And for those of you who are subscribers to the Orlando Sentinel, thank you so much for continuing to support our work and supporting local journalism. It means a lot to us and to the community. If you want to become a supporter, it's easy to do so. All you need to do is visit orlandosentinel.com/subscribe. But as for OSN, that will do it for us today. A big thank you to Austin and Grace for keeping us filled in what's going on in our community. We'll be back again with more news next week. We'll see you then. Stay healthy and stay safe.
Watch Orlando Sentinel Now live every weekday at noon on our Facebook page and on orlandosentinel.com.